I wanted to bring it up, but I'm gonna bring it up now. Let's talk tractors. What what were you doing? Okay, so you did She Thinks My Tractor Sexy. That was the
Yeah.
first one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Okay. Um, I was riding with Paul Overstreet one day.
Mhm.
It was actually me and Paul and another guy. I won't mention his name. I don't want to embarrass him, but Paul was telling a story. Paul had a little farm out in Cheatham County and about 100 acres, and he was out bush hogging one day, and his tractor broke down, and he had to go get a part for his tractor to fix it. And his wife Julie said, "Well, can I ride along with you?" And he said they got in the car and they're headed to the tractor place. And he said, "I don't know what got into her." He said, "Man, she scooted over there next to me. She was kissing on my neck, and so I about wrecked my truck off. She was kissing on me." And he said, "Damn, girl." He said, "I guess this farm equipment turns you on, don't it?" Like that. And when he said it, I just busted out laughing. I said, "Man, let's write that. Let's just write that," because I'm from Nacogdoches. I was raised on a dairy farm. So we
Mhm.
had tractors and I was driving tractors. I said, "Man, we need to write that. That's a love song where I come from." And so the guy that we were riding with, he goes, "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life." So we wind up writing some sad song, grandpa dying and the family we write this really sad, tear jerking song. And the minute that dude left, I said, "Paul, let's write that other one." And so we wrote it in about 45 minutes and just having the best, it was probably of all the songs I've written, that's the one I had the most fun writing because we were just having fun. I never dreamed anybody'd ever hear it. Honestly, never dreamed it. And I took it. I remember I took it into EMI I wanted to demo it, and they refused to. They said it's stupid. They don't want to waste the money on it. And so I used my own money. Do you remember Chip Abernathy, the drummer here in Dallas?
Mhm.
He's there in Dallas now. Well, Chip was my drummer when I had my band, and he was in town, and so I hired him. I couldn't. I had to hire, but I had Rob Hay Jacobs playing fiddle, and
Wow.
uh, and Gary Chapman, who played bass on all of Garth Brooks stuff, and Bruce Boughton was on that demo session, and Chip was so nervous because he had all these well known studio guys, and he could barely count the song off. He was so nervous, but he's actually the one that came up with that lick, that dum dum bum bum dum dum bum bum. That he's the guy. He came up with that, and
Really?
so yeah. And so anyway, we cut it. She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy, and I sent it to Paul. And Paul had a pitch meeting at RCA and was playing songs for Kenny and was striking out. He just couldn't. He said Kenny didn't like anything he was cut. He played him, and he said his time was up. And he said, "Man, I got this one more." And he just threw it on just for the hell of it. And Kenny heard it and he says, "I love that. I want that." And so it wound up being, I never dreamed anybody would ever hear the thing. We were just writing it for fun. And, uh, and, but I think that kind of came through when you could tell that we were having fun. And of course, in those days, country had a little bit more sense of humor than it does now.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, that's how that song came about.
It then you did Big Green Tractor.
Yeah. Yeah. That was, I don't know, 15 years later.
Because
We
that's Jason Aldean did that one,
Jason
right?
Aldean, yeah, and I wrote that with David Lee Murphy, and
Okay.
David came into my office. I used to have an office on Music Row, and David came in one day and he goes, "Hey man, you wouldn't be willing to write another tractor song, would you?" And I was like, "Man, I don't know if the world's ready for another tractor song." "Oh, I think they are, man. Let's." So I said, "Well, it can't be anything like the other one. We can't do that. So if we can come up with another way, another approach, then sure, I'll write another tractor song." And so um, we sat down and got our guitars out and came up with Big Green Tractor.